Virtual Console, sometimes abbreviated as VC, is a specialized section of the Wii Shop channel and Nintendo eShop online services that allow players to purchase and download games and other software for Nintendo's Wii and Wii U home gaming consoles and the Nintendo 3DS portable gaming console. The Virtual Console lineup consists of titles originally released on past home and handheld consoles. These titles are run in their original forms through software emulation, and can be purchased for between 500 and 1200 Wii points, $2.99 and $6.99 and $4.99 and $9.99 depending on system, rarity, and/or demand. Virtual Console's library of past games currently consists of titles originating from the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Game Boy Color and Nintendo 64, as well as Sega's Master System and Mega Drive, Genesis, NEC's TURBO-GRAFX-16 and SNK's Neo Geo AES. The service for the Wii also includes games for systems that were known only in select regions, such as the Commodore 64 and MSX, as well as Virtual Console Arcade, which allows players to download video arcade games. Virtual Console titles have been downloaded over 10 million times. The distribution of past games through the Virtual Console is one of Nintendo's attempts at preventing software piracy. List of Virtual Console games. Japan. There were 38 titles of Famicom, Super Famicom, N64, Mega Drive, and PC Engine games available at launch on the Wii Virtual Console for the Japanese region. The Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console launched with 7 titles of Game Boy and Game Boy Color. New Virtual Console software is added on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 2 p.m. JST, and there are currently 659 titles for Wii, 244 titles for Nintendo 3DS and 336 titles for Wii U available. North America. There were 12 titles total of NES, SNES, N64, and Genesis games available at launch on the Wii Virtual Console for the North American region. 2 TURBO-GRAFX-16 titles were added 2 days later on November 21, 2006. The Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console launched with 4 titles of Game Boy and Game Boy Color. New releases are added to the Wii Shop channel and/or Nintendo eShop for Nintendo 3DS at around 12 p.m. EST, 9 a.m. PST currently on Thursdays. North America saw its first release of Commodore 64 games on the service on February 23, 2009. And its first Virtual Console arcade games on March 25, 2009. As of September 3, 2015, there are 398 titles for Wii, 172 titles for Nintendo 3DS and 187 titles for Wii U available. Though the Virtual Console lineup initially only covered games that had been released in North America. First, George Harrison indicated in an interview that there was a possibility that Nintendo or other Virtual Console providers would localize Japanese games that have never been released in English. This later came to reality, and former Japan-only games have appeared on the North American Virtual Console. The first game to be added with such localization was Sin and Punishment from the Nintendo 64, while other previous Japan-only titles had been released through Virtual Console prior to this. The first being Battle Load Runner from the TURBO-GRAFX-16, added on April 23, 2007. This and all others were originally written in English and required no localization. Despite the fact others fit the category, there are currently 25 titles listed under the import genre with 1 removed. Sin and Punishment, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Ninja Jajamaru-kun, Alien Soldier, Do-Re-Mi Fantasy, Millen's Doki Doki Adventure, Puyo Puyo 2, Bio Miracle Bokutapa, Dig Dug, Glee Lancer, Super Fantasy Zone, Break-In, Star Parodia, Choaniki, Final Soldier, Digital Champ, Battle Boxing, Gradius 2, Gopher no Yabao, Bomberman, 94, Datana, Twin Bee, Wonder Boy 3, Monster Lair, Pulsarman, Secret Command, Street Fighter 2, Champion Edition, Castlevania, Rondo of Blood, Ironclad, Euphoria, The Saga and Monster World EV. Furthermore, at least 2 import titles were released without any English translation, and thus only Japanese text is available in these games, while Monster World IV was fully translated to English. PAL Region 8 total of 17 NES, SNES, N64, Mega Drive and TurboGrafx titles were available at launch on the Virtual Console in Europe and 11 titles for the Oceanic region. The store updates every Thursday at 12 AM CET, in Australia at 9 AM and in New Zealand at 11 AM AEST. The number of games per update has varied, but is usually 1 or 2. As of September 3, 2015, there are 385 titles in Europe and 384 titles in Australia and New Zealand for the Wii, 168 titles for Nintendo 3DS and 193 titles for Wii U available. Though the Virtual Console titles primarily cover only the games that have been released in Europe, Nintendo UK has commented that there is a possibility that in the future, Nintendo will localize Japanese and North American games that have never been released in Europe, such as Super Mario RPG, which was released on the European Virtual Console on August 22, 2008 after being unreleased in that region for 12 years. In March 2007, Hudson released 3 TurboGrafx games which were not originally released in Europe: Double Dungeons, Dragon's Curse, and Battle Load Runner. 5 Hanabi festivals have been held since, releasing former Japanese or North American exclusive titles. There are currently 43 titles listed under the import genre, in which most of them were released during the campaigns. Nintendo 3DS Library history. On June 6, 2011, Nintendo launched the Virtual Console service for the Nintendo 3DS on the Nintendo eShop. Games released for the service include titles for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Nintendo Entertainment System, and Sega Game Gear, with TURBOGRAFX 16 games available in Japan only. There are also special features available while playing Virtual Console games, such as viewing classic Game Boy titles with the traditional green screen or viewing them in an emulated border. A separate but related set of games are 3D Classics, which are remakes of classic titles that make use of the Nintendo 3DS's stereoscopic 3D capabilities. When asked if Virtual Boy games were going to be available for download on the Virtual Console for the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé told Kotaku that he couldn't answer, as he was unfamiliar with the platform. As a consumer, I have experience with every Nintendo platform and, I think, every accessory, including the Super Scope, with the exception of the Virtual Boy, so it's difficult for me to articulate a point of view back to our parent company, in Japan, why we absolutely have to have a Virtual Boy store. Reggie Fils-Aimé, the author of the piece, Kotaku's Stephen Totilo, called upon readers to argue for a Virtual Boy store on the Nintendo 3DS. If you can, in response to an August 2011 price drop on the Nintendo 3DS hardware. Nintendo announced plans to give early adopters of the system a number of Virtual Console releases as appreciation of their support. Owners of the system who logged into the Nintendo eShop by a specified time in their home markets became Nintendo 3DS ambassadors. In September 2011, 10 NES titles were made available through Virtual Console to the ambassadors at no cost before their general release. The games included marquee titles such as Super Mario Bros. and The Legend of Zelda. They were released to the general public for purchase at a later date, with additional features such as simultaneous multiplayer across multiple systems. Ambassadors received the new features as free software updates. On the 16th of December, Ambassadors received access to 10 Game Boy Advance titles, also at no charge, that are not scheduled to be released to those who are not ambassadors. On February 1, 2012, Punch-Out!, the first non-ambassador NES game, was released on the Virtual Console service. Since then, other NES games that were not part of the Ambassador program were released, including third-party games by Capcom, Konami, and Tecmo such as Mega Man, Castlevania, and Ninja Gaiden. Furthermore, 2 NES import titles were added in North America and Europe: Summer Carnival 92 Rekka and The Mysterious Murasama Castle in both 2013 and 2014, respectively. TURBOGRAFX-16 PC Engine games were added to the service in Japan, starting with Gradius and China Warrior on December 25, 2013 in Japan. R-Type and Alien Crush were later added a few months later in February, the following year. As of now, no new TG16 games have been added to the Virtual Console service. On November 12, 2015, it was announced that during the latest Nintendo Direct that Pokémon Red, Pokémon Blue, and Pokémon Yellow would be released on the Virtual Console service on February 27, 2016 to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the series. The games will feature Wi-Fi for trading Pokémon, replacing the Game Link cable due to the Nintendo 3DS having wireless connections. But Game Boy printer features in Pokémon Yellow, like other titles on the Virtual Console, will still not be usable on the Nintendo 3DS. Titles storage: Virtual Console games are saved on an SD card and are accessible through the Nintendo 3DS home menu. Game saves and save data: the save feature for the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console service is similar to the Wii's, however unlike the Wii's, the games can save a single restore point that can be used as much as the player wants to, but is replaced and overwritten if the player makes another one. South Korea releases: the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console has not officially fully launched in South Korea, but the new Nintendo 3DS Super Mario 30th Anniversary Bundle comes with the Virtual Console version of Super Mario Bros. pre-installed.